TV. I'm Sabrina Harrison.
And I'm Hubert McCarthy.
Police said burglars targeted a Union Township, Lawrence County storage company and set it ablaze before fleeing late Sunday night. The fire was reported shortly before midnight at Convenience Storage on West State Street. Investigators said the fire was started by the burglars who cut a hole in a fence to break into the facility. The fire damaged about 15 storage units, and firefighters had to use a chainsaw to cut through the locks to reach the units. The extent of the damage has not been determined and is not yet clear what, if anything, has been stolen. The fire marshal has been called to investigate. So far, there are no arrests.
The U.S. and its allies changed tactics Tuesday on how to avert a crisis over a Palestinian statehood bid, as the White House announced that President Barack Obama would meet Palestinian leader Mahmoud Abbas. At the same time, U.S. officials concerned they could not stop Abbas from officially launching his case for the Security Council's approval of the statehood effort. But they hope to contain the fallout by urging Abbas not to push for an actual vote in the Council, where the U.S. has promised a veto, to give international peacemakers time to produce a statement that would be the basis for resumed Israel-Palestinian negotiations. Obama is expected to make a pro forma request to Abbas when they meet Wednesday, not to proceed with his initial plan, but also make the case for the Palestinian leader to essentially drop the move for statehood. Recognition after delivering his letter of intent to the UN expected Friday.
A strong earthquake shook northeastern India, Nepal, and Tibet, killing at least 50 people, damaging buildings and sending lawmakers into Nepal's capital, running into the streets. The quake, with a magnitude of 6.9, struck at 6:10 p.m. Sunday local time. It was felt across northern and eastern India, including in the capital of New Delhi.
Several animal hoarding cases in the Pittsburgh area have been reported over the past few months. Dozens of pets have been removed from homes after not receiving proper care. Earlier this month, a woman from Pittsburgh North Side neighborhood had dozens of cats removed from her home. She was charged with animal cruelty. Animal Friends officials said just those cases set the shelter aback. Every time a malnourished dog is brought to Animal Friends, it costs the shelter at least $223 to nurse the animal back to health. For cats, the cost of care averages around $203, and rabbits cost about $183. Officials said animal hoarders often don't realize they have a problem.
Rosemary, Pittsburgh police, come to the door.
Right after police rolled up on Hotchkiss Street, our cameras began rolling.
We're going to have to force it.
Police tried to enter the house where they say a case of severe hoarding had gone on here way too long.
Everyone in this world has rights, but when hoarders infringe on the rights of other people, then there's a problem.
60-year-old Rosemary Anderson was not home, so police had to force the door open, stepping over garbage just to get inside. For years, neighbors complained that Anderson's many cats polluted their yards, defecating and vomiting in the grass.
The smell, like I said, be glad you're not here.
A young Tennessee woman accused of killing her newborn twins has been released from a jail in Gallatin on a $250,000 bond, walking out in the company of her father. 25-year-old Lindsay Lowe left in jail, Tennessee's Summers County, with her father escorting her, with his arm draped on her shoulders. Broadcasters WTF-TV reported that the woman's family had secured a property bond set earlier by the judge, and she was released into the custody of her parents. Police have said Lowe hid her pregnancy and then suffocated her twin boys last week to keep her parents from hearing their cries at her home in Hendersonville.
A health department spokesman said Monday dengue fever has affected more than 6,000 people over the last 2 months in Lahore, Pakistan, also known as the cultural part of Pakistan, where inhabitants populate over more than 6 million people. The 25 who were also affected, who also died, are all from Lahore in eastern Pakistan. The outbreak has created panic in the city as thousands of people crowd hospitals for testing.
Brazil has begun its countdown for the 2014 World Cup, 1,000 days before it hosts the soccer tournament. President Dilma Rousseff launched the event at the stadium in Belo Horizonte alongside the soccer legend Pelé, who is Brazil's World Cup ambassador. The tournament will kick off on June 12, 2014. Now, let's take a look at what is happening in sports news.
Thanks, guys. I'm Alex.
And I'm Ryan. With the first story, the ACC announced Sunday that Pittsburgh and Syracuse, once flagship programs of the Big East, have been accepted as members of the Atlantic Coast Conference, extending the league's current membership to 14 schools. The exact date for the move remains uncertain, as Big East bylaws require schools to pay a $5 million exit fee and give 27 months' notice before leaving. ACC Commissioner John Swofford said the league fully respects the bylaws of the Big East, but PIC Chancellor Mark Nordenberg said the Big East provides options for withdrawal.
For the second straight week, Cam Newton threw for 400 yards, sidestepped pass rushers, and moved the Carolina Panthers up and down the field. Leave it to Aaron Rodgers and the Super Bowl champion Green Bay Packers to spoil Newton's home debut. Rodgers threw for 308 yards and 2 scores, while the Packers withstood a 432-yard passing day from the #1 overall draft pick to beat the Panthers 30-23 on Sunday.
Mark another loss for Ohio State in a year full of setbacks. The Buckeyes fell out of the Associated Press college football rankings for the first time in nearly 7 years, ending the nation's longest streak of appearances in the top 25. Coming off a 24-6 beating at Miami, the Buckeyes dropped from the number 17 in the media poll released Sunday. They have been ranked in 103 straight top 25 since last being left out on November 20th, 2004. Oklahoma remained #1 after a 23-13 victory at Florida State. The loss dropped the Seminoles 6 spots for 11th for the third consecutive week. LSU and Alabama flip-flopped at numbers 2 and 3. The Tigers moved up to second after winning 19-6 at Mississippi State. The Crimson Tide flipped to third. Boise State stayed at #4, and Stanford moved up to 5th.
Kansas City running back Jamal Charles will likely miss the rest of the 2011 season after initial diagnosis revealed a torn ACL in his left knee following the Chiefs' 48-3 loss Sunday. Charles will have an MRI on Monday to confirm the diagnosis, but the team believes the Pro Bowl running back will return this year. Charles, who rushed for 1,467 yards last season, was lunging toward the first down mark along the Detroit sideline when he was pushed out of bounds by defensive back Chris Houston. He landed on the feet of Detroit's mascot and immediately began clutching his left leg. Let's take a look at the clip of the unfortunate incident.
Good blocking and turning the corner. Here's the Jamal Charles, who's not that big as running backs go, 5'11", 199.
Jamal Charles is down. He might have hurt his knee, either trying to avoid the mascot or stopping when he hit the mascot.
Our very own Tomcats will face off against the St. Vincent Bearcats this Saturday for our homecoming weekend. The Tomcats look to bounce back from the crushing loss they had this past weekend versus the Waynesburg Yellow Jackets. Let's go Teal. That's all we have for you today. Now back to the desk.